Hey class, so we're going to try a slightly different method for going through the lecture today. Now I am going to pre-record this lecture, and then you can watch it at your own speed. Go back and rewind when you need to see something else, and I'll also post the notes in OneNote. Okay, let's get started. So today's lesson is going to be on string concatenation. And escape characters. Lots of words in today's lesson. So these two things are related to strings. And strings is really what we're going to deal with when we're learning about our first set of objects, because it's the first kind of object that we deal with in Java. So string concatenation, an easy way to rename that is to say this is string addition. And it's a special kind of addition in really that it's addition to the end of an existing string. So it's adding some of the, or the new little bit of string to the end of a current string. So for example, if I write string s, and I put string s equal to hello, I can then concat and add on more to it. So I can say s equals s plus world. And just as we were able to use a condensed operator in math, we can do the same thing that we do with strings, where we can say this is an equivalent to saying s plus equals world. These are equivalent statements. And if we did a system.out.println, I'm just going to go ahead and shorten it up to out.print. Of s, my output would be hello world. And it would be condensed like this because I don't have an extra space. Although I guess you could argue with my handwriting there's a space in there. But it's not going to add spaces between words. You need to specify to Java that you're adding a space between words. So this is concatenation. But there are some tricky things with concatenation that we'll need to pay attention to. And that mostly has to do with the fact that when you concat a string, as soon as Java sees a string, it's going to convert whatever is on the other side of that plus symbol into a string before it concats. And that's part of how Java works in memory. So if we do something like this, if we say out.print, and we say, I don't know, my age is, if your age is, and then we could put in an integer plus integer x, right? And we could output a person's age. But what if we wanted to do some math with it? Maybe we wanted to say your age in leap years. If we did an output like this, where it said plus x plus y, now Java is going to get not confused, but it's going to give you an output that you might not expect. So if we set x and y here, if we set them to different values, so if I say int x equals 4 and int y equals 10, what would we expect as the output of this? Out.print my age is 10 plus 4. We'd expect that the output should be, we would think that this should be 14. But what we're actually going to get is 410. It's going to take our value of 4 for x as a string and concatenate with it the value 10 that is in y. There's a simple way to solve this, and this is with parentheses. So parens solve this. Think of your math class. When you're working in math, if you want something to be done first in an equation, you put it inside of parentheses. That indicates that this is something that should be done first before we do something else. Like in a quadratic equation, we can pull out a number and put it in front, meaning that the inside has to be calculated before we can handle what's on the outside. Same thing with Java. If we surround this x and y with parentheses, then it will work. So I'll rewrite that down here. If we solve, or if we rewrite it, out.print as my age is now what will happen is Java will read through the line, and when it sees the parentheses, it's going to calculate this as integers first. So this will now be calculated as 14, and Java will create the string literal 14 down there, which will then give you our expected output. Expected output of 14. So parentheses play a big role in getting math to happen in the right way inside of an output in Java. Some of you may have already come into this, and I saw this in some of your answers for the coding activities. That is string concatenation. Let's look at our next tool, which is escape characters. Okay, we've got a list of escape characters. The two that are hidden characters are, I'm going to write these in green. So escape characters are always escaped with a backslash first, and then we have backslash, and the first one is n. Backslash n creates a new line. It's like hitting enter on the keyboard. So this is new line. Let me do this in a different color. New line. So backslash n creates a new line. You won't see that character when you print to the console, but it's there. That's what creates a new line. Another important one is backslash t. This is a tab space. So this moves your character, your cursor, over by one tab space in the screen, in the console. So it can add extra space, 4 spaces actually, between your outputs in the console. So these two escape characters are not actually seen when you output. But there are a couple of others that we do end up seeing what happens. So let's think about this problem here. When we want to output something, let's say I want to output a string like this. So I'll write it over here. Actually, here's the best example. Let's say you want to quote someone. So let's say you want to quote someone in your output. You want to put a famous quote by someone. Okay. One of my favorite quotes. Here we go. Now I got an example. One of my favorite quotes is, "If you can dream it, you can do it." I'll write it here. If you can dream it, you can do it. Walt Disney. If you can dream it, you can do it. Now, what if I wanted to output that to the console? How would I output these quotes? Well, remember that quotes define a string and an output and in the print line statement. So this would cause a problem because now I'd be starting a string and then I'd have to put double quotes out here, but then wouldn't double quotes mean that there's no quotes in? We got a problem. That's where we use escape characters. So if I use a backslash to escape and then I put double quotes, Java now knows that I'm not trying to end my string here. I'm just trying to insert a set of quotes inside of my string, and it won't have any problems. It will print out just the quotes. I don't want to say print. I want to say adds quotes to the string. Okay. We can do the same thing with single quotes. So single quotes also have a special meaning in Java. So this also creates quotes on or adds quotes to a string. And the last one, as you may have guessed, is the backslash itself. What if you need to add a backslash to your output or to your string? Well, then you have to escape the backslash itself and put that in your string. So the backslash here adds a single backslash to the string. So the first backslash here, this one here, gets escaped out, and the second one is actually added to the string. There are more escape characters than this, but these are the ones that we are going to learn so far and the ones that are going to be important for the AP Computer Science exam. All right. Hopefully this new format is something that you guys will enjoy. If you do like it, let me know, and we'll continue this format as our way that we'll do lectures in the future. And maybe I'll do these when we actually get back in person so that you guys, if you miss a day or something, you'll be able to still get the content that you need. All right, everyone. Have a great day.